Good morning. I'm sharing as part of my user journey here, building this app as a builder. Um, as a developer of about 25 years, one thing that I typically struggle with is I'm doing a lot of work across many repositories, and one thing that's difficult is I need to either be retrospective and look at previous commits, or I'm doing a stand up for multiple teams the following day, and I need to generate a summary of what I did the previous day. There's not really a good tool that can look across repositories, let me choose the commits based on either a date range or manually, and then just use an AI to generate a report based on the diff of that Git selection to generate just like an overview of like what I did the previous day. So what I wanted to do was lean on Claude Code to build this. And the first thing I did was I went into Claude and started asking about what the complete 2025 production SaaS stack looks like in um, like right now. So I'm perfectly fine working within the free tier on all of these for now. But to jump through these one at a time, we have Clerk, which is the identity and authentication layer. So who is this person? Can they access the app? User authentication, session management, social logins, password authentication, multi-factor authentication. Clerk does all of this stuff. What it doesn't do is it doesn't store your application data. It doesn't store extended user profiles. It doesn't host your front end. It doesn't run your API logic. It doesn't send transactional emails, password resets, etc. So we need other puzzle pieces to fill that larger puzzle. Vercel is the hosting and compute layer. This is actually where you're going to be putting the code to run in production. And so that's the core responsibility. Where does my code run? How do users access it? Handles the front end hosting, handles the API routes and backend logic, handles the edge functions, automatic deployments, etc., and so forth. What it doesn't do is manage authentication, store persistent data, send emails, provide real-time WebSocket infrastructure, process payments. So we need yet another puzzle piece. For that, Supabase is the database and backend services layer. So it's your database. It's where you're storing your data. It's your REST API that you can, sort of auto-generate GraphQL. This is like the persistent data source, where it lives, how it's secured, where your site stores its data. But what it doesn't do is authenticate users, because Clerk does that. It doesn't host your front end. Vercel does that. Send marketing and transactional emails, which you're going to need to like let your user know, like if they lose their password, how to reset it and things like that. That's what resend does. We'll get to that. And then manage user sessions, Clerk, process payments, Stripe. We'll get to that too. The next layer is resend. That's your email delivery layer. So its core responsibility is to reliably send emails to users. Transactional emails, order confirmations, receipts, notifications, email templates, email delivery, webhooks, testing, all of that stuff. Resend is really great. It's fast. It's cheap to get started. It's actually free at first, and you can kind of scale up. But then again, it goes into what we don't do. We already talked about these things. Clerk, Vercel, Supabase all handles these other little components of it. Stripe is your payment processor. You're going to need this to accept payments, collect money from customers, actually start receiving memberships, and you're going to get your payment processing, subscription management, invoice generation, tax calculation, payment methods, all of that stuff. Stripe does it. And Sentry, we're going to get to that later, but that is error tracking and performance monitoring. So when we do put this in production, we need to start scaling up. We need to see where the errors are. If users are hitting problems in your app that you don't see, Sentry is going to be able to surface those. And it's also going to be able to help us scale the performance of this thing. So what have I done so far with my app? So what is it called? It's called TLDR Git is what I'm calling this app. Too long didn't read Git. So the idea is, again, you can select one-to-many commits, and then it will analyze the code diffs, and it will generate for you a summary that you can then save back to your dashboard of this website, and then you're locked and loaded, ready to go to give updates to your team, to give updates to next week's retrospective, to give updates to your manager, to figure out how much time you spent on a pet project or like a contract work project. And these are the components of that stack. And I've been building the very early proof of concept completely in the terminal using Claude Code. I've not had to write any code yet. And as a developer of about 25 years or so, being able to ideate quickly with an AI where you can sort of bat ideas back and forth and have it just quickly implement ideas for you, so much faster to get like a viable product in front of users to figure out like, is this something that people even want or need? So so far I have been ideating with Claude Code, so I'm actually going to ask it right now, can you quickly recap the things we've done so far, high level, for this project? Claude Code, if you haven't used it, it is a command line based utility. Don't let that scare you off if you're not used to the command line. What you can do is install it very simply. There's tons of guides out there on how to get this thing installed and set up and running. But at the end of the day, you log in, you can either use an API key or connect it to your Claude account, and you're off to the races. So at that point, you can start ideating really quickly with Claude Code. You just put it in a directory, start Claude, and say what you want to build, and it will start populating that directory with everything you need to build that application. And then you can literally say, hey, I want to set up Clerk. I want to set up Supabase. Help me set up Stripe. Help me set up Resend. Help me set up Vercel. And even to the point where it gets to the done with the code that it's able to write, it can then give you instructions. Because, for instance, like one thing you're going to need to do is like set up environment variables within your code base and within Vercel or Clerk. And what environment variables are basically able to allow you to do are authenticate these services to the internet. These are secret keys. These are things you don't want to put in source control. These are things you don't want to hard code into your website, because savvy people can view the source of your website and get your API key out of the source code and then use it for whatever nefarious means they want to do. So you don't want to put your API keys and your secrets into your source code. You want to save them in things, we call them environment variables, and these are not committed to source code, but your app can still use them. And then Vercel actually will has an interface in its dashboard where you can log in and set the environment variables. And it's very simple. It's just chasing them down. So it's like when you set up Stripe, your payment processor, it's going to need two or three different like variables you need to plug in. And it means you go into Stripe's dashboard, you hunt down your API keys throughout the UI. Claude will actually tell you where to go. And then you just copy that value out and you stick it into Clerk, or you stick it into Vercel, wherever Claude is telling you these things need to go. And then you also put it in your local environment variables file, so that when you're working locally on localhost and like seeing changes in real time, you can also be testing Stripe and be testing any authentication that you've set up along the way. So very cool. So very high level, what we've done with Claude up to this point: infrastructure and authorization. Again, Next.js 16. Clerk for authentication, Supabase for database, Stripe for integration and payments, Resend for transactional emails, Vercel for deployment. And we've built these core features. We have the GitHub integration working, where you connect GitHub account via Clerk. You have commit viewing where you view the recent commits for any connected repository. We have the AI summarization for fetching the actual Git diffs from the GitHub API and then sending to OpenAI GPT-4 for analysis. I may change that model later. We'll see. And then save summaries. So we need a save button with optional title, API endpoint ready, summaries page not yet created. What's left? We need to save summaries, navigation link, etc. So right now, I'll show you what I built so far, and it's a very early sort of proof of concept, but this is essentially it. Let me move my little thing out of the way there. I'm gonna log out so we can start from the beginning, but this is the early sort of landing page that Claude Code built for me just based on my prompting. And what I could just literally ask is, hey, I am building I'm building a project that, and just give it a really high level thing. Like, I'm building a project that can connect to Git. You can log in with your Git account. And then, you can connect a repository. You can select multiple commits. Like, can you just build the boilerplate for this? Let's start with the boilerplate and we'll go from there. So the first pass with the AI was getting me to this point, just a landing page. And then when I clicked sign in, it might like actually go to this page right here. And that was great. That took like literally 2 minutes, and then I'm on to the next step. Then I can ask my AI, like, help me set up the GitHub authentication. It very simply did any code changes it needed to do, and then it directed me to like URLs to click to, like, go to this website, go to Vercel, go to Clerk, like log in, connect, go to GitHub, create a new app. Here's the callback URL, here's the secret key, put this here, put that there. Just follow the directions. It sounds intimidating, but you're just following directions. And then you try the rendered result. If you run into problems, you take that error back to Claude, and it will help you resolve that error. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to GitHub. And I'm going to continue. I don't want to connect to my organization right now. And so at this point, you will see a dashboard. And thank you to Vercel and Clerk. Thanks to those tools, we are able to get a really quick and easy framework up. Like, this handles your settings, it handles your profile, it handles your GitHub connections. Like, oh, by the way, it already stubbed out my subscription stuff here with Stripe. We haven't like implemented that, so this button doesn't do anything, but we'll be doing that in a future sort of video. And delete account, it sets all that up for you as well. It also has me now set up with sort of that GitHub profile management, so I can connect my or disconnect accounts here. Security, it shows me where I'm logged in at, and if I want to delete my account, I can do that as well. And so, like, a lot of stuff that has come together very, very quickly. I'd say probably over the course of about 2 hours, I was able to build this really quick prototype. And there's a lot of polish left to do, but let me show you the core functionality. So let's go into this first repo that I've connected, AI Diary. And in here, it will show me the commits, my commit history. And if you are anything like me, you do these very unuseful commits. Like, look at these terrible commits. Shut down, shut down, shut down. Like, what the heck did I do? What are these? Like, how do I summarize to, like, if I was doing this job for a small company, maybe I'm a contractor, like, what did you do on June 19th? Well, I could figure out, through trying to get to that commit and like inspecting what the shutdown tasks were, or I can come in here to my tool and just summarize these 3 commits. So I'm going to like summarize these, and it's going to hit the AI behind the scenes. It's going to disable this. It's going to, it's basically hitting the AI endpoint right now, and it's coming back with this AI summary. So It's in Markdown format right now. I think I'm going to probably change this to be prettier and more like user friendly. And maybe I'll add like a link to like copy this to the clipboard or something. We'll do that in maybe a future video. I just wanted to use this video to kind of like show you where I was at this point and as a builder, lay out what the next steps are. And I apologize for starting this video now and not when I first started Claude Code, but I hope I've at least somehow like somewhat walked you through the basic like startup mechanics. Also, you know, video doing a video screen share of those early steps would have been difficult because it has a lot of like sensitive information in there, API keys and um, you know, what do you call them? Secrets, environment secrets, things like that. I don't want to expose those to the internet, so um, I thought this was a good starting point. We can just like build forward with new features. So here's a summary of the changes of these 3 mysterious commits. And we can see now we've introspected into these commits and it can say it can summarize each of them. So like we added an alert message to dashboard notifying the users that AI Diary was shutting down on July 19th, 2025. This was a previous like pet project of mine that I just wanted to do as a passion project and tested the market viability a little bit, decided to shut it down. Anyway, moving on. Same with this commit, remove the feedback link, remove the product hunt badge. So cool. So overall impact, these commits collectively prepare the application for shutdown by updating user communication and removing unnecessary elements from the UI. The changes are straightforward and align with the service's end-of-life strategy. There are no immediate concerns as these changes are consistent with the planned shutdown. Cool. So now I'm going to, this is the feature I just added, was this ability to like save. And I don't think I've finished the migrations yet, so it's probably not going to work, but I'm going to go ahead and click save here. And it's going to give me a title. I'm just going to call it, AI Diary Shutdown Tasks. Maybe we can even have an AI generate this. I'll save that. And you can see it kind of did nothing. It it just sort of saved and then it came back again. That's pretty common with these AI tools. So like what you need to do is you need to just kind of go back to your server and actually see what happened. And you can get a lot of you can get a lot of insights into what happens. So like here is why this failed. It's because I created this new functionality. And it created new tables to support this functionality that I haven't created yet. So I actually need to go back into Claude Code and scroll up a little bit. And actually, I feel like I stopped this before it was done. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, can we resume work on the create saved summaries page? I think I need to do migrations yet. And was the implementation done? Question mark. All right, I'm going to move my camera thing back up here. Cool. And we will see what it says. It's kind of fun to read its reasoning steps. See, it's checking the current state of the summaries implementation. It's reading migrations. It is reading the routes that it created to support this. You can see it's running those migrations. It's creating the dashboard summaries page, and it's going to add a summaries link to dashboard navigation. So this is kind of like Claude's just sort of internal to-do list, like an implementation plan of what it needs to do to finish these steps. So yeah, we'll just give it like a few more seconds to finish up. So it's creating the save summaries page. It looks like it created the migration and ran it as well. And you'll notice too, it says, you need to run this in your Supabase SQL editor. And, you need to take this migration file and plug it into Supabase. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the file it created here. So this is cursor And I'm using this when I do need to get into my editor. So here's my create summaries table. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. And then back in Supabase, I'm going to go to my dashboard and into my organization, my TLDR Git project. And then in here, I have my SQL editor. I'm going to paste this block into there and run that. And that's going to set up my production database. Claude ran the code to do this migration on localhost, but I just need to do this manually to set that migration up in production. And all migration is instructions to the database to perform an operation. It's either going to like create a table, it's going to populate some table with data, it's going to rename a table, remove a table, basically like CRUD operations on your database. So let's scroll down here and see what else is going on. Cool. So after running the migration, you can test locally with npm run dev or deploy. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my server, and I'm going to rebuild it with npm run dev, npm run build, and then npm run dev. So that's going to build my project, and then it's going to start the server again. And then we can see I've got a server running on localhost 3000. Now if I go back into my app here, I should be able to reload. Okay, so again, I'm going to select these first 3 commits and summarize them. Hopefully I have more luck this time saving the summary. And then we can finally call that sort of feature complete for now. So there it is. We got our summary back. I'm going to click save. And we'll call this shutdown, like AI shutdown, save summary. Cool, it's saving. It actually went back. Awesome, it actually says saved. So that is amazing. I'm going to go back to the dashboard. And we've got repositories 1, that's good. Summaries generated 0. So that's interesting. This is another sort of typical thing that can happen. Let's see if it didn't put it here somewhere. No. So I'm going to just go back to the AI and tell it what's going on. So summary was said to be saved, but then back on the dashboard, the counter is still at 0 summaries. Cool. So it's actually going to start that process. So now you can see, oh, it says found it. Look, the dashboard fetches the repo count, but it never fetches the summaries count. It's hard-coded to 0. Let me fix that. So like, this is pretty typical where you are iterating forward with the AI. You're moving in small iterative steps. You're not trying to do too much at once. Like the first prompts are probably going to be pretty big because you're making really big boilerplate for your project. But then once you finally get to the feature level, you should do one feature at a time so you're not overloading the AI with a whole lot of stuff to do to where it's difficult to keep track. And you need to keep it focused. Like AI works best when it's really focused on like atomic small pieces. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a refresh. Awesome. So we have now summaries generated 1. I still can't click on it. And if I view my AI diary repo, again, there's nothing new in here. So I'm going to, it fetched the backend, which is great. We've got a counter now. I suspect that it just simply hasn't like connected that counter to the page that it's already created. So I'm going to go ahead and just come back and have it do that. So let's say clicking on the summaries generated number doesn't do anything, I would expect this to perhaps go to the summaries view. Can we set that up? Alrighty, so we'll see what happens. And yeah, very simply, it says it's saying that it didn't put a link around this thing. You can see on here the red that there was just a div here, but that didn't do anything. So it's actually going to create a link instead. So that should do it. Let me go back and refresh. And this is really cool. Like it actually put a nice little hover border on the entire box. And I now have one summary generated. So I'm going to click this. And this is really cool. The display is like kind of hard to read. But I really like the way it did this. It sort of created this top level like nest for each repository, and then underneath that it shows like a list of summaries within that repository. So what I can actually do here is I can copy this entire frame and go back to Claude code and do a Control V to paste. And it says, image 1 in brackets. That actually, that actually means that it has that image ready to view. And by the way, in this is just sort of a Mac trick, but if you do Command Control Shift 4, and then you drag an area, not only will it copy and paste, not only will it copy a screenshot, take a screenshot, but it will copy that screenshot to your clipboard. So then it makes it really easy to Control V, even on a Mac. In Claude Code, it's Control V because I think Control C or Command V just doesn't work for some reason. Control V in Claude Code will paste the image. Can we make this more readable? Let's see. Title. It's hard to read. And I don't love the white background. Let's actually do that. Send it along. This should be a really quick and easy fix. So the design changes are usually like the easiest thing for Claude Code because it's like all the logic is there, all the like data translation is happening, all the back and forth with the server. It's literally just changing the look and feel, and that's like the easy stuff. So you can see it's doing some updates on looks like it's using tailend classes to make this look a little prettier. And if I go back, you can see right there already, look at that. It made this really nice, just sort of like dark toned thing. Again, I want to like change this to, maybe I'll like add a markdown library. Like maybe we'll do that next time on the next sort of builder session here. I'm going to be continuing to do these. I'm at like half an hour. Sorry, this is really long, but I just kind of wanted to walk through the mechanics. Next time we will do the markdown embed, which will make this markdown look much nicer. We will add the ability to copy and paste an entire block to your clipboard. We'll hook up the delete functionality. That doesn't work yet. And we will look at some other sort of bells and whistles, maybe like an interactive tour or something like that. And then we'll get into, Stripe payments, memberships, subscriptions, email sends, all that various stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, give me a like on this tweet. Feel free to forward this along. And thanks for joining me on this journey here. I hope to be doing more of these where I just kind of like step through as a builder and doing these journeys over time. So if you enjoyed this, just kind of like follow and look for the next one, the next sort of TLDR Git sort of builder journey update. I'll be sure to link that when it's done. But anyway, thanks for following along, and I will catch you guys on the next one.